So you're still Battlefield and Rebuild? And we're on
Yeah.
Hey guys, hey, welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. Becky, we got you unmuted, very good. Oh, I see you got Mike Lynn there in the house.
Hi, Mylyn and Debbie and Bill. Bill's
Bill.
over here.
We got Team Furcrest in the house. We got Las Vegas.
There's
We got Kent.
We call it the crest.
The Crest. The Crest. Well, welcome everybody out there. A couple of announcements before we get started. So first of all, I have to say, tons of energy going on this week. Lots of registrations coming in for Run for Recovery, so yay. Thank you so much for everybody sharing it with all your friends. We're seeing some names we don't recognize, and that's super exciting because, of course, we want every single one of you, all our Battlefield families. Of course, that's a given. But it's super exciting when we have people from the community that we haven't met yet. So, because that's the whole point, is to just to spread the word and build and grow and get more people in our Battlefield family. So thank you, everybody. And thank you for those that are sharing our sponsorship levels and sponsorships to your bosses and organizations. We got a couple more this week. So right now we've got Washington Cedar Supply. Thank you, Mitra, for that. We have Camco Incorporated. Thank you, Mr. Dave Komar. We have Geico, who is back again, sponsoring us this year. And then the Old Cannery just joined us, and they have sponsored us a lot through the years. So they are the newest to our list. And then there's some others that have said Orion is going to be sponsoring, Rush is going to be sponsoring, Planet Fitness, Becky. Yes, so there's more that are coming, just not officially official yet, but we're going to be able to add all their logos. But if you need any help in sharing it with your organization, your boss, maybe a friend of yours has a business, if you need any help, reach out to me or Becky. We can give you the email with the attachments. You can also go on our website, battlefieldaddiction.com. If you click on events and then the Run for Recovery, everything is also there that you need. The PDF with the sponsorships, the registration, and all of that. So, Becky, did I miss anything? What else do we got?
I don't think you missed anything.
Okay, how about Mom's Group tomorrow?
Mom's Group, 11 a.m. tomorrow on Zoom.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I missed last week's again, but I did get to peek in and listen. You guys are having such a good time. So listen, ladies, all you ladies out there, if you haven't joined us for a Mom's Group, come, join us. It's just 1 hour on Wednesdays. It's on Zoom. It's just an opportunity for us to get together, talk about the topic from the night before, and get to know each other more. So there's lots of laughs. Even if you can just kind of come every once in a while, join us. So you are in totally good hands. Reach out to me or Becky for the link and join us tomorrow morning at 11.
We do a great time.
Do you see it up on the screen? That's there's some yoga sometimes on Mom's Group that we in the group with. There's lots of laughing. It's a ton of fun. So join us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. All right. Well, if that's it, Becky, let's go over to Kent's. Thank you. Let's remove that. So let's go over to Kent's. I forgot to turn the camera around, but I didn't realize that. Y'all just heard my voice and not my face, but that's okay. So if you're new tonight, I don't know if I see anybody yet new, but if just in case, let me introduce you to Mr. Kyle Munkers. He is a manager over there at Rebuild Recovery. He's at the Kent location right now. And but not only that, but he brings us our comedy each week. He brings us Kyle's Corny Comedy Corner. So take it away, Kyle.
Okay. Sorry, the dog's here. I love Daddy Monks. Right. What do you call a horny square? Any rectangle?
I do too. Should we go?
It's corny.
It's so corny.
You know, it's kind of a shame. Gonorrhea could have been the name of a really good diarrhea disease. Gonorrhea. Same thing. Fun statistics. Josh's gonna get kicked out tomorrow.
Okay.
Fun statistic. 69% of people will find something dirty with every sentence.
Don't get it.
What did the left butt cheek say to them?
Yeah, I know. Just kidding.
You better stick together before the shit gets out. They get better. You know, a lion will never cheat on its mate. But Tiger Woods does.
Stupid.
I've actually become really good. Oh, Scott's here. That's the best joke of the week.
That was funny.
And he's like, I've actually become pretty good at reading lips. I've been practicing on the couple next door. They've been doing a lot of talking about some creepy neighbor we have. Last one. What's the best way for a woman to scare her gynecologist? Become a ventriloquist.
Oh, you're sick.
That's funny though.
You're sick.
That one was funny.
Thank you, Kyle.
What was that, Kyle? You're
Uh-oh.
Did they freeze?
No, they muted.
Okay, they muted. Okay, that's
How's it sound? You can hear it? All right.
Maybe we should turn the light on. Let's just see how that works.
Yeah, I'm pretty dark.
There we go.
Whoa.
There we go. There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Seems like the camera makes me look a lot fatter than I am. That's for sure, but it also makes my teeth look a lot whiter than they are. So it's kind of a give and take. Don't mind it. As I get, I don't know if I'm getting older into this thing or if I'm getting, I don't know, getting down to the point more. I feel like I'm becoming more repetitive, and it's important for me to be repetitive because until this conversation gets started in the proper way, I'm going to be this way. And what I mean by that is what we're dealing with our own resistance, exactly what I talked about last week. And someone today described their time with their kid right now that's a drug addict as a war. They said they had to be on the same page and not divided because we're at war. And it really stuck with me. It's like, wow, we have to look at that. Maybe families have gotten to the place of warfare, and what that can do to a family when you're at war. And this probably for a lot of you, and I hope to hear from you about this tonight, have seen and felt that they are also in a war. That, you're trying to win and you're against an enemy. And that can't be the way it has to be. That can't be the way to success. So the reason that I'm so focused on people taking taking responsibility for their insecurities, 2, noticing when they're in resistance, 3, dealing with their own resistance and being able to, which is pain, which is resistance to the way it is, and to sit with that pain and learn to take it and grow. And until we get everyone doing this so that we can explain throughout a week and we can join each other and say, this is the resistance that I dealt with this week. This is how I dealt with it. One of the things that everybody wants to be on here with their loved ones, I imagine, is influential. And so if we're going to be influential with the people that we want to influence, then we have to work from a place of an open heart. And I'll talk about closed heart and open heart. And when we're in resistance, what happens is this closure, this wall goes up around our heart. And I want you to notice that in those times when the wall goes around your heart, you feel against. It's you against them. And in that space, with our heart closed, when we're against each other, we cannot make a difference. And all the negative stuff that we say and do comes from this place. So when I say to people, or when I show you the formula and I say that, one, this path to recovery starts with each individual first being mindful and practicing mindfulness, which just means I observe myself as a top priority. I observe my own words and my own motivation and my own feelings and my own body and my own tension and my own guilt and my own shame. And I observe every state that I'm in, and I get really good at this because I want to be influential. And then secondly, values. To add mindfulness plus values, this is the practice. And then the game of relationship is I'm now able to judge my growth. The thing about judging our growth is that, one, the relationship is the only place where we can find the resistance that we need to grow. And resistance is the only way we grow. That's how we gain muscle. So, but the problem is when we're in the relationship and we work from resistance, we damage the relationship. We are against, we are at war. So now I have to have a way that I can be, influential, and I have to have a way that I can approach this with an open heart. And there's another thing here. This growth of taking on the pain of the relationship, the things that you don't want, the resistance to the way it is, this growth is our new way of taking it in and handling pain. And if we are venting, so everybody says, well, I need to vent. Well, you might need to vent, but it's not growth. What venting says is, I'm not going to handle all the pain. I'm going to take it to my friend and dump half of it on them. And then I'm going to call my other friend and I'm going to dump half of it on them. And then I'm going to do a little yelling, and I'm going to be angry about a situation that I shouldn't be because I'm overreacting to the situation that happened before. And so now, because I'm angry with something that happened at my relationship with work, I go take it out on my family, or I take it out on the people around me, and I kick the dog, or whatever it is that I do. And so until you get to a place where you are really interested, and I mean totally interested in your own pain, with a deep interest to the experience of resistance and going through it and being with it and not venting it out, but owning it, being there with it, sitting there saying, I can feel all of it right now. And I can feel when I keep it in my body, my mind doesn't start to blame. Now, once my mind starts to blame, again, it's okay. You're releasing some of the pain, but you're not growing. Blaming isn't growing. It's when we can sit back and really blame the root cause, which is our own stuff, our own insecurity. So I'm hoping to lead this discussion and questions and interest people in why I'm repetitive, because I believe this is the path. I do not believe that there is another one. I mean, I just don't believe that if a human being isn't working on their own pain, then they're going to not be able to avoid dumping it. and not just a total resistance to the way things are, but other sorts of things that are coming up that are causing me to not be influential too, that I need to notice, such as guilt for the way I past parented, guilt for my own alcoholism or my own drug addiction that my kids seen when I was younger, guilt from these things, causing me now to operate from a place that I shouldn't be operating from. So just like operating from a closed heart, which every time we operate from a closed heart, we will cause damage. And it seems to be that we have a closed heart and we're against and we're at war. We seem to feel the louder we talk, the more that we explain ourselves, the more we try, we seem to really buy into the fact that we're going to get our point across. And it's just never happened. And I want people to notice that it's never happened. That you do not get your point across with a closed heart. That it's never happened. That no one hears you. In fact, you close their heart down, they get defensive, and now you're at the war that you speak of. And we have to find both a place to work from and a language to work from. We have to have a place to work from and a language that we both can kind of know so that we can get together and make a difference in this relationship. And as I make a difference, I see people tell me they've grown, they've found themselves, they've really got to know themselves, whatever they're saying. I've really changed, I've really improved as a person. How do you know? And I will argue that the only way we know if we've improved as a person is our improvements of our relationships. To say that we have not improved a relationship, but we've changed and improved is probably a figment of somebody's imagination. It's just a made up story. Wait till you go. I remember a famous author, I can't remember, Tara Brach, I think it was, and she said, if you think you've grown, go spend a week with your mother. And you know, and I think that's pretty accurate. If you think you've grown, go spend a week with your mother, go spend a week with your family and see before you just claim growth. Because you might go back to this same closed heart warfare pattern, and you need to understand the damage that's done. So I hope to get some questions and comments tonight and bring about this topic. And maybe since last week, some of you have been noticing your own resistance, and you could share on that. And maybe you have some questions. But, you know, this is bad news for everyone. Because, you know, it says solution group. And it's art, fix my kid, or this program should fix my kid, or let me explain to you how my kid needs fixed, or whatever. And then the bad news shows up that there's work for everyone. And it's not that great. You know, I liken it to a couple going to marriage counseling, and then after the first session, both couple hoping that the guy picks their side. And then that's what they're both actually going there for. They're going there to state their case, and then hopefully their side is picked. Nobody's going to couples counseling expecting that they have to grow. No, nobody's doing that. That would be nuts. So, you know, we go in the hopes that people see our side and we can vent a bit and we can get out some of the pain. And so one of the distinctions that I want to pinpoint tonight is notice when you're venting. And if we can change venting from I'm offloading pain onto you, it would be a different experience to see what we're really doing. So when we find ourselves, you know, I used to find myself in all kinds of states. And I learned this stuff through being in all kinds of states of resistance. And I used to notice that when I was angry and I used to drive over to one of the houses or the big house, and I would go to see some clients that's made a mistake, my foot was heavier. I would drive faster, and I would be trying to get there. And in my mind, I would be in resistance, building a case, and my heart was against them, and my heart was closed. And in those states, I could not wait to talk to the person. I couldn't get there quick enough because I was in pain, and I needed to dump that pain. I needed to explain myself. I needed them to see it my way. I needed them to understand that I control this thing and that they're not going to run me around like this, and they're going to do what I say. And I would go with this determination and go in and just have this collision with a client, just accusations and why the F would you do this and that. And then some of the clients used to concede and say, I'm sorry, Art. And then some would say, well, fuck you or whatever. But it was a different, but noticing that my hands would text faster, my body was tense. Well, once I discovered this self-awareness or this pathway out, I became very interested in just sitting with that pain. And I had learned over time by the time I got to the big house, I was so out of pain that now I was just there as an open heart person that could just share with a person that's in trouble and listen to it and not be angry with them. And that's not all the time, that's some of the time. And it got better over time. And so it got better due to this process. And it's why it's so important for me to see that addiction shows up in someone's family. The warfare begins, our hearts close, and we battle each other. And what we're trying to do with this battle is be able to influence the other person. And so to look and understand how I'm trying to be an influence. I'm not trying to be an inspiration. I'm trying to be a hammer. And how am I trying to now? Everything that you can say to a person that needs to be said can also be said with an open heart. So we can find ourselves saying the exact same thing and having it working when we're from an open heart, and having it totally go sideways and back in war when our heart's closed. So it's vastly important that you recognize when your heart's closed, because you can say the same thing that somebody else is saying, but you will get this reaction that you just will not be able to comprehend why it's coming on to you so hard. I get away, everyone tells me this, and I don't say this, but everybody tells me that I get away with saying everything that people can't get away with saying to people. And that's truly because I work at keeping my heart open before I speak. And I understand what it feels like to be against my clients. I understand what it feels like to think that I'm in a warfare. I understand what it feels like. You think I'm the heat of 16 people not behaving, 35 people not behaving properly, and you against them. It's pain. And you want to control, dominate. You want to get your arms around them. And so learning when we can get to a place to wait, to open our heart back up, to go through the process of talking about my own insecurities to myself, to go through the process of sitting with that pain. There it is, pain. That's the beautiful thing about being with these kids here. I love when they're in pain. I love it because there it is. There it is. There's nothing else. You can do anything you want to do, but no substitute for them being in pain. There is no substitute for them to sit with it. Hi, pain. Here I am. I'll be here with you. Not trying to resist it. I'm not trying to vent it out. I'm not trying to dump it on somebody. I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is happening. Can't change it. Growth. And the muscle growth, the mind growth, it all comes from the body. So really, I'm going to keep repeating until everyone at this Kent program and Vegas program is talking to me about their own resistance, because that's it. Tell me what makes you so insecure. I'll ask it over and over. You fight with somebody incessantly, you worry about somebody. Why do they make you so insecure? You would never fight with somebody unless they made you insecure. So until you look at where you're coming from, the insecurities protect me, and I close my heart because I'm insecure and I'm fearful of you, and now I'm against you, and I'm protecting myself. It's not love. By the way, we haven't even talked about that, but we're not even getting to the place of love because we're protecting. The statement should really predominantly be with family members, I think, and couples sometimes. I don't know if I love you is the appropriate statement, because that's not what's happening most of the time. I think the appropriate statement is, I protect myself from you most of the time. Most of the time, I'm trying to prove to you that I'm right and you're wrong. I don't love you. I got to prove you're wrong. And how can we love something and try to prove it wrong? We want the things that we love to be right. That's what makes us love them. So we would never try to say, this is my favorite ice cream, and then we would love it. We would just eat it. We wouldn't try to prove why that ice cream is bad. But somehow with people, we say, I love you, but I want to prove how wrong you are. How does that make sense? I don't love you. I will love you if you're not so wrong. Wait, then I'll open my heart when you're not so wrong. Now, hopefully there should be some bigger questions, because how do you do this when somebody is behaving very poorly? And that's the crux of the matter. That's the heart of it.
No,
So,
Jesse has a question or a statement.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Alright, well, I guess it puts me in resistance every time I think about having to deal with my parents and trying to think about having a relationship with them again just puts me automatically in resistance. It's a lot easier for me just to cut them off. I'd rather lay down and die broken cold than try to repair that relationship. Imagine take baby steps, and even just thinking about baby steps, even just imagining how an interaction would go. When I'm feeling good with an open heart, like top of my game, and I think about like giving them a call or trying to repair something, and then I think about how that would go, and it's just like, just the imagination puts me in that mode of resistance, and like I got tons of resentment and everything, and it's been many times my mom said, I can't talk to you unless a counselor's present, and but that open heart thing really rings true, because it's like I could go in there with an open heart and then meet her resistance and walls, or theirs, and then that would not go good, or they could be going through some counseling and come at me with open heart, and then I wouldn't be ready. I'd not get those walls, so it's like, just the idea popped in my head, thinking about this, like, I don't want to do it anytime soon, I'm not ready, but like, if we both got to the point where, like, it would almost like go like a text message, do you have an open heart? Because like, I have an open heart, do you have an open heart? And if they said yes, then we could both talk, and we both have an heart. It's almost like it'd be good, like,
Well, there's a bigger movement, Jesse, and there is another way, and it is very great when two people both know this language and two people can come together and say, let's work with each other and let's try this from an open heart. And it's very beneficial for that too. But also to understand it to the depths of it, my open heart keeps people's heart open. The minute my heart closes, that will close the heart of another. So as long as I can keep an open heart, this could be successful. Now, this is very difficult because, see, you have to blame, because as soon as you feel resistance, that's your resistance. Now you have to keep it at that fact that it's yours, it's not theirs. If you are feeling resistance as a human being, that is your resistance. That has nothing to do with them. Nothing.
Very true.
So staying what your focus could be to get to that situation and go, you know, all I'm going to focus on here is not what gets said, not what gets accomplished, but whether I kept an open heart or not. That's it. That's it.
It's like, you know, because it's like, part of me is like, they don't deserve me to, why do I have to open heart, you know, like, they trained me to hold on to grudges, you know, like, you know, and be prideful to the end, you know, like, that's how they, so why do I have to come at them? But that's where I need to work on myself, you know.
Well, you got to understand how it makes you sick.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not built for this, Jesse. You are a person that should be, and we're built for, total love, protection, and love of your family. That's what you were built for. And it's not you to not be that. And it will make you sick. And you need to understand, you are a protector, Jesse. You are a provider. You are somebody that's supposed to be there for others. And it's time to step into those shoes and get yourself to a point where you can take on that responsibility. And see, I closed people's hearts because I scare them. I hit their insecurities. I hit them with my anger, and I closed their hearts because I did that before. And that's me I'm talking about. I close people's hearts towards me all the time. You know, because I had to be right. That's a tough one. But good. Thank you, Jesse. It's a lot of progress. You'll get there. See, just the fact that the conversation is on that is a different conversation that's ever been had before with this family. Okay, who we got next?
All right, everybody. So you know the drill. Just use the raise your hand feature like I'm doing right now on your device. If you don't know how to use that, no worries. You can unmute yourself. You can say hello in the chat. Just get my attention somehow. Any questions? We're looking for any kind of interaction tonight. Let's open it up.
We can call.
Team Schland's out there, I saw too.
Well, we got Team Pittsburgh. We got.
Well, she's West Virginia.
West Virginia.
But she's a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
So she's got her Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Hey, Angela.
Yeah.
We got the
We got Hawaii. Is it Monica in Hawaii?
Yes. Well, no, she was, but she's in Washington now.
Monica. Okay,
Hi, Monica.
okay. Unmute.
Monica, come on,
Unmute.
let's go.
Monica.
She's been on Mom's group every week. And I believe this might be her first time having the camera on. So
Monica, are you
Yes.
scared? Are you scared to meet me?
No.
How come we haven't done a consultation? Let's do this properly.
I just got home and I am going to. I guess I just need to make the phone call. I need to get my husband on the same boat, and
that's really what she's worried about, right? That's really what it is.
that's part of the problem, and that's why I'm doing this. And
So listen, when you think of your husband and getting him on the same page, is your heart open or closed? Are you for him or against him?
I'm for him to be on with together.
But he's against that idea.
Well, I'm not sure if he's against it or not. I haven't.
So the trick
He's not saying no.
All right. So looking at this and going, this is mandatory for my kids' life that we join these forces. And because I'm gonna now go to my husband with an open heart, and I'm gonna come from a place of, you know, please, a place of, hey, let's just, calmness and no accusation and just, come on, let's do this. You'll get there. He'll do it. When people come to us with an open heart and request almost anything, we oblige. When they
So
come to,
just to get my understanding, I mean, you're saying the open heart. I mean, you're coming to the person, and not just my husband or my son. It's just that even though you're upset about everything that's going on, you're just letting it go and deal with yourself.
That's a good question. Two people drive down the road and they both have a flat tire, right?
Yeah.
One guy gets out, he kicks the tire, stubs his toe, breaks it, slams his hand, yells, kicks the trunk, dents the car, and changes the tire. The other guy says, I have a flat tire, I can't change it, and calmly and safely changes the tire. So acceptance does not mean that we don't change the tire. It doesn't mean that we don't do an action to rectify the situation. Acceptance is how I feel inside. I don't operate with hatred inside me. That's my pain. I don't operate from anger. I don't have, whenever you see a human being that has to talk to another human being, they absolutely shouldn't be talking to that other human being. I need to talk to you. Well, you need to vent on me. And that's what you're going to do. So, so none of this stuff, when we say resistance and acceptance, we're talking not about about just saying the situation is how it is. Let's just accept it. Never. We're saying the situation is how it is. I accept it. And now I'm going to have influence over it to make it better. So, that's a common misconception that, the serenity prayer, accept the things I cannot change, the wisdom to know, or the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. The problem with that is nobody has the wisdom to know the difference. You don't know what you can change. You don't know what you can influence. And people cop out and say, I can't change that. Nothing I can do there. Bullshit. You think you can't have influence over a drug addict? Well, then why would we have treatment centers? We can't help a drug addict until they're ready. Bullshit. Why do we have treatment centers?
Because they're never ready.
If we could only help drug addicts when they were ready, then they would just be done doing drugs and we wouldn't need treatment. But, it's just not how it is. So we can't accept how it is in that form. But we handle it from a place of an open heart. Oh, that's how it is. Okay, I'd like to make a difference. Okay. Instead of, don't be like that. Dominate it, try to control it.
It doesn't work anyway.
No, it doesn't. And yeah. And the anger will chew you up. And the hatred will blacken your heart. And you will be hardened, and this isn't designed for that. This is designed to let us deal with our insecurities and our resistance, and it shows us, it's a beautiful tool because it shows us every one of them. This attacks on all fronts. My kid's addiction attacks my money, my reputation, my health. It attacks on all fronts. And we're very insecure about all these things, our money, our health, our reputation. So they attack our insecurities. So, this real tricky thing with this being right thing, it's a real trick. It's the one thing you got to give up. We all need to give it up. Okay, who's next? Thank you, Monica.
I look forward to connecting let's get that scheduled. You let me know.
Okay, I will talk to my husband tonight and see what we can do.
Perfect.
And,
We better schedule
and
tomorrow.
Monica, you need to understand that helping a drug addict, that might look like a vertical proposition. It might look like something that I need to do vertically between me and that person. But the initial starting of helping a drug addict has to do with lateral relationships. It has to do with building the relationships first that surround the drug addict. It has to do with that first. It has to do with fixing those. I mean, our most difficult cases are when we get the divorced couple that hates each other. That's a tough one, and then we have to try to get them to work together, but they're sabotaging each other.
Thanks, Monica.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Carrie.
Hey, Angie. Hey, Monica. I just want to relate something. So we're a couple years into the program, and we conversed with Chris Sturch before, my husband and I, and we've known Chris for years prior to this. But he had really good messages for my husband on, what the program has done for them as a couple, for him as a person. And, so I would say reach out to others if you're, you want to hear other stories and how it helps to relate to the program. And never forget kind of the mantra of the program is family first, and the addict, and then the community. And the strength that you'll get and your husband will get will help you a lot.
That's a byproduct that we don't sell enough here at Battlefield, but we're really a couples therapist program.
Family. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but we do. We that's one of the side effects of Battlefield addiction. It's maybe we don't promote and recognize enough, but 100% of the couples, the married couples and the boyfriend and girlfriend, everyone, their relationship gets better. And that is a byproduct. And it might be the only, some cases, we have a lot of families that's just the case, that their kids still doing the same shit, but their relationship, Melinda and Josh are a great example of how great their relationship can be now. Well, this is still going on with their kid. So
Very true. You've got lots of those.
Sherry must have something for us. She's up by the screen.
Yep. Hey, Sherry.
I will actually second what Carrie just said. It gave Guy and I the same language, so we were able to start speaking the same language and work together kind of as a team. So it was once you get kind of like aligned on that language, it's super helpful. So I actually have a question though, Art.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Shelly back there. Hey, Shelly. So yeah, I was like, oh, Shelly's back there. How excited. So when you notice yourself going into that mode where you feel like you need to vent, right? And then you sit with it, right? You're kind of like in that moment of, okay, I need to sit with it. And are there things you kind of run through your head? Like okay, is this me just being insecure? Is this me, name the feeling, right? What are the things that are running through your head when you're trying to identify why it is it's hitting your stuff, right?
Okay, let's talk about optimal best case scenario. Best case scenario is you are so aware of, you're going into this conversation, heightened awareness. And I always say the same thing. I say, imagine when you drive around the city of Kent, you don't really need much skills. You don't need much awareness. You're not really in any danger. You're not going to wreck. That being different than when you drive over the pass with 3 feet of snow on the pass. When you drive over that pass, after you get done driving over that pass, your hands are clenched and sweating to the steering wheel, and your arms hurt, and the concentration level has warped you and really ended you. You're just exhausted. And that's because you're aware and you're so present to every turn and movement of the car. And that's how we can get with our bodies in an optimal situation. That I'm going into this tough conversation and that's what I'm doing. So this is optimal. And now I notice when my body flinches and tightens, and I notice when it does this, and I don't even need to look at my insecurities. I just keep it right in my body and I go, there it is, pain. Now, and you can keep it right there, and it might not even go to the body. You might not need to figure out your insecurity, just right there. And you already know it's an insecurity, so you don't really need to figure that out. You trust the process. So now optimal, you're just sitting there with your body in pain and you're going, oh, there it is. And you're breathing through it, waiting for it to subside, and then operate again after it subsides. Now, on another note, you're not driving in the snow, you're not paying much attention. You get your shit hit and you snap and you lose it. And you say something detrimental or whatever. Now the important part is the hindsight. Now the important part is whether we as a couple, whether me as a person has my ability to vent to you about my insecurities, rather than venting to you about your bullshit and how you need to stop. So this is what makes me insecure about what you're doing. This is what hit me. I've traced it back and I'm talking to you in the proper language about both my responsibility for my insecurities and what happened inside of my body. And that's second. Third is just lose it and yell. And, so there's all these different stages that one could go through. And to sit just with the pain, with no mind. Oh, my heart rate, my muscles. Oh, blood pumping to my hands, my hands being clenched. Ooh, there it is. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing. And when I get that done and I achieve it, when somebody's going off on me, I feel so powerful to be able to sit and go through the process of handling my pain. I feel so powerful.
Well, so you think, so if you're going through, so it's not, how to do this, right? This is one of the things where I'm trying to kind of figure out I've actually gone into an office before after I had, somebody yell at me at work, and I went to my, VP that I work for, and I was like, I need 5 minutes of your time, and shut the door, and I just unloaded. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, that's not fair to that person to dump all my crap on that person. Right. Yeah. So when, it seems like the first step there is to kind of.
And I want to point out that, Sherry, that might not, it's not about fairness, but it is about what that does to the way that person looks at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how that person trusts you, and how that person, we listen to people complain and we don't mind it, but we know it's all bullshit. Yeah. Very few people are skilled enough to get it to complain to us and have us get up and do something about it, mm-hmm. So go ahead.
But so, there's a place where it seems like you then have to figure out, okay, you have to even if it's take 5 minutes and complain to your hubby or complain to your person about whatever the thing is that hit you, then you identify okay, this hit my insecurity because, and mm-hmm. this is why I reacted to this thing because, and then you get to that. So it's right, kind of like getting to the source of what the thing is if you don't know how to identify the thing, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But again, sit long enough. Don't move. See how long you can keep the fire inside you. It's not going to hurt you. Okay. So how long can you keep it in without venting? And can you do this whole process and possibly just do it without another human being? It might be impossible. Sometimes we get to a place with our pain where there is no other choice but to vent. Yeah. It's too much. It's just too much. But if we can start with the little things, traffic, long lines at the bank, someone calling you a loser, whatever it is, start with the little things.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's a fun process because as long as you're taking response, at any point, the growth starts when the blame stops. And so at any point when the blame stops in your head and the case building stops in your head, and your head switches to inquisitive about why you got in that state and your insecurities, the growth is there and it's there. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
A human being sitting and going, why did I get so upset? What was it? Why am I insecure? This is tremendous growth. Rather than a human being go, that MFer, that guy, let that guy, I didn't, I don't do anything wrong. That just doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that growth starts when blame stops.
It does.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And the blame is there to protect us from growth.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. It's there to protect, because we had an experience in our body and our body didn't like it, and it went to the mind, and the mind says, I got you. I'm going to protect you from that. Blame this other person and tell them they need to change. Tell them they need to be different. And tell them loudly, and tell them make it stop for sure and yell. And that's what our mind's telling us to do to protect us. So we're having to re-engineer our own minds. Our minds are hardwired to protect us. Okay.
Crazy. Thank you very much.
All right.
Good stuff, Sherry. Thank you. Hey, Beth.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have made a lot of notes and I agree with everything you say, but I'm having a hard time understanding one concept. And that is, you say that if we truly love somebody, we don't necessarily want any changes. We don't want to see any changes in what they're doing, because if we told somebody we loved them, that means we truly love them in whatever state they're in. Is that what you're saying, or am I misunderstanding?
No, not at all. And I'm a big believer that the kind of love that matters here for us as a family is an accountable love. I'm a believer in love's accountability, and I'm a believer in the power of love, not in the way that everyone says. And I don't think that people get sober or change because someone's loving them. I think that that's a myth. I think everyone was already loving them, and then they turned to drugs. Everyone was already doing it. They experienced a lot of love. And I think that when someone who we want to love us isn't feeling us right now and isn't picking up what we're putting down, we would then aspire, and it would cause me to seek that love through my behavior getting better. And so, but from your perspective, I am not saying love a person that's behaving poorly. I am just suggesting that when your heart closes down and you're protecting yourself from that person, everything you do beyond that to change the person will become irrelevant. It will fall on deaf ears because your heart is in resistance and you're saying to them, you're wrong, I'm right, and don't be the way you are. Now, it's okay to say smoking pot, doing drugs, not working, whatever it is. It's okay to say this isn't great. But it's a way like, come on, is this what you want to do? This is what you're doing? God, that sucks. That's a lot different than don't. That's a lot different than when we're against. Mm-hmm. And we can get to a place where we can see a person hurting themselves in their life. They know they're hurting themselves. They wouldn't even get insecure. You tell someone to stop doing something. If they thought it was the right thing to do, they would go, you're crazy. They would just go, you're nuts. You're not even on the same planet. But they get defensive. So at the moment they get defensive, they're already insecure about doing what they're doing. They already know there's wrongness to it. And you telling them doesn't help. It doesn't, but yeah, again, it's not a matter of the situation being how it is and it needs to stay how it is and I accept it. It's a matter of where we work from to influence the situation. And when I learn to deal with my own pain, I don't try to operate from my pain to deal with this, because when I'm operating from my pain, I'm trying to make it stop because of my pain. So I'm trying to change you and make you stop because I'm in pain. Now the person that we're trying to change or make stop sees that we're in pain, and now has lost.
He's taking notes.
Okay, now the person has lost the ability to trust what we have to say because they see it's about the person. You see, it's about you. It's about your pain. This ain't about me, you're nuts. So when we can get to a place where we are for someone because our heart is open and we are for them, the person will know that we are for their life. And now you will be able to inspire and influence the situation better than before. It's just those things that you said. You know, when we find ourselves talking about a behavior that happened a year ago, when we find ourselves bringing up the past, when we find ourselves, you know, in an accusatory fashion, when we find ourselves doing that, we know we're in pain. And when we find ourselves building a case to explain to the person how wrong they are, we're in pain.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
That's so good, Bev. Thank you. Thank you for getting
Sure,
an answer to the
it's
thing
all right.
that you weren't understanding. That's an example of how it's so important to do
I think
so.
this is a big one for a lot of people. I am saying that the situation I agree, the situation in your family sucks. I agree. I wouldn't be here. So I agree. Now, how do you want to influence it? What I'm trying to teach is that it does suck, but you can have influence, and you've lost your ability to influence predominantly. A lot of people have lost their ability to influence the situation that sucks because they're operating from their pain. Okay.
Art is, so do you equate pain with fear? Because when I hear you talking about parents with their children, and I think about Michael, and what I experienced with him before I ended up relapsing was worry and fear.
Okay.
Constant.
So great question. And she's saying, do I equate pain with fear and worry? And absolutely yes, I do. But I also will I'll make a side note and say, but be careful. Because is it really your fear or worry? Or is it an insecurity about what it makes you look like as a parent that they're doing what they're doing? And there's two different things. There can be a deep fear. Yes, my kid is missing. He's out there doing damage with a pistol. Very fearful. But there can also be, my kid is right here. That he's not out doing those things, but he's, yes, maybe using drugs in front of me or right here. And now I'm operating it with that same type of intensity and fear. But really, it's because I'm trying to get the point across that this makes us look like shit as a parent unit. And you know, and so that's an insecurity as a parent rather than a fear as a parent. So I think it needs to be distinguished between which one you're operating from. And you need to know that about yourself. Is this a true, you know, true fear? Or am I in pain because I can't control the situation and I'm a bad parent and what's the world going to think? And
All of that.
yeah, all of it. And I think it's a combo of all of it. It's a nice salad of all types. Fear, worry, shame, regret. It's a buffet. You know, pick which one you want.
Good news.
Yeah, more good news. Okay, who's next? Look at Angela changed her picture. That's a weird one.
That might be her mom.
Oh.
It's probably her mom.
But it looks like an old classic painting. It looks like a painting, not a picture. It's a classic painting.
It's probably her mom.
Uh-huh.
The one on the right.
Yeah. Okay, who's next? Steve and Bertie, what do you guys?
Hey guys.
Let's get a comment.
Hey.
I love them.
Yeah,
They're great.
they're the sweetest.
So happy.
Yeah.
Try one more time.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking to unmute. Oh, there we go.
Got it.
Hey,
Got it.
Can you hear us?
Wow. Hey, first of all, congratulations to the two of you. We're so excited for the nuptials that you're going to be doing. That's so cool. And I'm telling you, Art, I have to tell you, it's the stuff that you're sharing tonight is amazing. I love the way you differentiate that idea with fear and anger and all that. And it's almost like you unpack it to, depending on what it is, if it's a parent issue with the shame that goes along with addiction, or if it's anger or fear, because they're all different and they're all meshed together. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I love seeing you guys.
Same.
Your energy through the screen is infectious.
Yeah.
Can't wait
Love
to
you
see
guys
you
too.
at Fun for Recovery.
Yeah.
I saw you got registered today. Can't wait to see
Yes,
you.
we did. Absolutely.
Yes,
Can't wait.
So the new families know Steve and Bertie are legends at Battlefield. They're the part of the founding fathers of Battlefield Addiction, and they will always be a founder.
Yes.
And
now they take care of their grandbabies and
yeah.
True.
Yes.
Well, bless you guys. Thanks so much. We love what's going on here.
All right.
Thanks, guys. All right, who else out there? We've still got some time. Questions, comments, anything? Anybody out there really going through it? This is an opportunity. Let me throw out FYI, our next in-person solution group is going to be on May 16th. And then that's Tuesday, May 16th. So it's going to be the Tuesday following Run for Recovery. And then the following night, Wednesday the 17th, is going to be our group coaching. So you can go ahead and get registered. It's already live on the website. I haven't posted about it yet, but it is already there. So get registered. I believe we're going to have a packed house since we haven't had one since last month. So yeah, it's going to be a big night. Make sure you're there in person 2 nights in a row. We'll be in town.
So on a side note or a sidebar here, I want to talk about, because I've had several people with this issue going on recently, and that's parenting from guilt. And trying to do this thing from some mistake that you think you made, or some type of thing that you think you did wrong that you know is now causing you to handle the situation with your kid, and this is right here. So as you're operating with your kid, the guilt or whatever the situation was is looming over you, kind of like you owe someone money. Mm-hmm. And it's just right here. And so the proper, one of the things that people need to know about that is that that's never going to end. The leaks will not stop until you fill the leaks. So first of all, to get rid of the guilt, I must get to a place where the behaviors that I used to do are no longer being done. I don't do that stuff no more. And then there has to be a restoration of integrity, a conversation. Yeah, that's how I used to be. And with this conversation, when I'm telling my kid, this is how I used to be, they gotta be able to see how I am now. And if those things are aligned, and this kid sees how I am now, and then and I've cleared up all my leaks, and I don't have any holes in the boat, then the kid is just crazy, and they're just gonna keep bringing that up, and then you got to slam that, and you got to say, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm not gonna, you got to really put an end to it. So there's the stages here. So if I feel guilty for things that I did, one, I have to restore my integrity and I have to discuss those things. And I have to admit those things and kind of say, yeah, I did that, but that's gone now. That's not how it is no more. And getting to a place where I become then unapologetic. And, you know, we can't be, what's went wrong as I don't know what has went wrong in society when I never got an apology from my parents once. I mean, my entire life, I cannot tell you a time my folks apologized to me. And I think that we're becoming too apologetic. I don't think my folks needed to apologize to me. There was nothing they needed to apologize for. Everything they did was to look out for me. Everything they said was in my best interest. What the hell would they be apologizing to me for? And it seems as if the new generation of kids thinks they deserve apologies. Well, I don't believe that's very true in most cases. I think they need to zip it. You know, you know, it was enough to put food on the table and make sure the kid had clothes and make sure he got to school every day and make sure he got to a doctor. That was all you had to do as a parent. In fact, you didn't even have to love them. You know, I mean, why would I have? You ever see the Denzel movie Fences?
Yeah, shit.
If you ever see that movie, the kid comes up to his son comes up to him and says, well, why don't you like me? And he says, where the hell does it say that I have to like you?
Yeah.
I put food on the table. I put clothes on your back. I don't gotta like you. That's not in the contract. But I think more and more we need to become not just two things, not just with us dealing with each other here and dealing with our families here, but doesn't the world need people to stop colliding with closed hearts until we get to some salute? We are a closed heart nation. We are against each other. And it is the worst I've ever seen it. And they all need this lesson. If you're going to approach people and fix a relationship and solve problems, you have to do it from an open heart or you will have no influence over it. And you will face resistance at every single moment of your life. And it must be so hard on these people to be in such resistance all the time and then face the resistance. And they're so ignorant of each other. They just cannot once concede and say, man, I need to open my heart. So that, and then becoming unapologetic as our leaders, as people that, you know, can get things done and quit apologizing for everything we say and do. So it's not just for us, it's for everyone. But our leaders right now and our politicians and it's like, I've never seen America so divided over such stupid shit.
Jesus.
I mean, it is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. What the hell? We kill each other. I think that the only solution might be a new North and South America. You know? We just divide. All the red states go over here and all the blue states go over here and you pick one. It's almost what they're leaving us with. We're going to have So, you know, this is not just for a lesson for all of us. And you can see why nothing gets done in our country and nothing is solved because everybody's trying to influence it from a closed heart. Ain't going to happen. I can rest assured that it's not going to happen. We don't get things done through force. We get things done with power. Power comes from an open heart, and force comes from a closed heart. And when I say open heart, I want to point out that I'm not suggesting a lovey-dovey, you know, all loving heart. And I go to somebody, it just means not closed. Open means not closed. And to be not closed means no anger, no resentment, no past, just open, rid of hatred, no hatred. Yes.
Hey. I think we can hear you. Oh, now you muted.
There you go.
I just want to double hit on what you're saying about, so this open heart has to go inward too.
Meaning
to yourself, to the
Oh, yeah.
parent and or the addict, the client. You've got to have the patience and the empathy with yourself in order to, I just want to make sure that we don't forget that in this conversation.
Because like I said, like Steve said, like I said, there's this salad of shame and guilt and all that's got to be reconciled too. And you got to know before you're going into these situations and these life-affecting conversations that we're having with people, if you're coming, what place you're coming from.
And you might be, sorry about the darkness. We're in the dark here in Chelan tonight. You have to have enough confidence in yourself with your open heart that it might take a few conversations with the person that you're having, might not have that open heart yet. But don't, so maybe it's only a 90-second conversation.
Yep.
But dive in and be yourself and be true to yourself, but don't punish yourself by trying to go on in a conversation that might not be open on the other side, but you might crack the door a little bit, because you're going to have to be building trust. And that's what you've helped us do, Art, is, I'll be checking in with Kyle and we'll be chatting and I'll ask him a couple questions. And he's so good now about saying, Mom, I understand where you're coming from. You've got every right to ask those questions or to have this conversation with me. So you just open that door and you build the trust.
Did he tell you that I guilted him into coming down here for the wedding?
No, but I'm taking care of the puppy this weekend.
Okay. I gave him enough shit today, him and Teresa. And
they seem excited.
Yeah, well, I gave him enough shit about not seeing him and about how much I miss him. I gave him enough shit that they booked those flights today.
Nice.
Good. Yeah.
I wasn't angry with them. I was open heart, and I just I said I need to see it.
Good.
So they did it.
Yep. We've got it all worked out.
All right. Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Common phrases when somebody's operating from shame, when somebody's operating from guilt. They'll preface what they're saying by saying things like, I care about you. I love you. And then they'll go on to state how the person needs to change. So when we're operating from a place that's powerless like that we have to try to put a caveat in there that we care about them before we destroy them about their behavior or talk about them. That's how you'll know you're operating from some type of other place, maybe not hatred, but also maybe not open heart. Maybe you're just trying to ease into a closed heart conversation by softening it, by saying, I'm against you, but I love you. And I want you to know, and I really love you, but I'm about to tell you why I'm against you. And that's not it. Okay, who's next? We got one more. Let's do one more.
How are the Adaires doing out there?
Maybe Deb.
Yeah, Deb. Hey guys.
Maybe we want to hear from you, Deb, on how your heart is right now.
You're muted right now. But hey guys. How you doing?
Good.
Doing fine.
How are you?
We're good.
When's the big day?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yay! Anybody else who wants to come down, everybody's invited.
We've got 8 we're going to sign up tomorrow. I got 8 for the walk.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. You know what? If you have a group of that size, make sure. Oh no, I did send it to Deb. That's right. I sent Becky's information because you have a big team, and so you get a special code when you have a big team. So yes, you have that. That's right.
And Art, I'm trying to put together a training program here in my shop. I have tons of equipment and of experience. I'm thinking about maybe trying to do a little training for some of the guys that may want to get into automotive. So
let's do it.
I'll talk about that. I'm going to try to get some grants, and I talked to a buddy of mine that he was a trainer for state of Washington for emissions, and he's got all these training manuals and everything. So I'm going to try to get that from him.
Oh, cool.
And so maybe we can get some training to these guys and then get a good job.
Look like Justin wants a job, or Dersh. Is that Dersh or Justin?
Who's raising their hands back there? Is that Tyler or?
Tyler and Justin.
They're all raising their hands back there.
I'm building my website right now, so I'll have that done here in another week or two. And
yeah, it'd be very good. It'd be very good. I mean, right now we have, I don't know, at least three guys who think they know how to work on cars.
I definitely know
that. They know how to fix everything, build everything. They're all geniuses, like,
All you gotta do is watch YouTube nowadays, right?
Yeah.
My dad.
That's great.
Well, Dave's not joking about that YouTube thing. He built an entire shop with an apartment above it based on YouTube. He told me so.
Yeah. I just have to get my accreditations out of the Cracker Jack box,
Yeah, you guys are in Covington, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're nice and local, so all you guys in Seattle.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome, guys. Actually, Dave was the first parent to come to the Vegas house. He was here last week and spent a day with us. So.
Dave's had the chili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have it again today, Dave.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you next month. All right. Anybody else out there? Any last ones?
So, I think I just.
Oh, one more.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, Guy. It's Guy's turn. Get you unmuted.
There it goes.
Yeah.
So, I got a question. I've been thinking about addiction, alcoholics, and all that, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell is this thing? Why is it that you have these normal people out there that can have one drink and they're done, and you have these other people out there that have to have 20?
Yeah.
Some people see a line of Coke, they can do just that one line. And then these other people are out there, they have to have 10, and where can I get some more?
Yeah.
So and I'm guilty on some of this. I can't have one beer.
Yeah.
I need 10. I have to have 10.
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't even stop at 10.
Yeah.
So what is this thing? Because you never really talk about this on these calls.
Mm-hmm.
Why are some people normal, and what is the hell is wrong with our brains?
Yeah.
That makes us, I even obsess about cough drops. I can't have one. I gotta have 15.
Yeah. I remember.
I can't have one bowl of popcorn. I have to have 3 or 4.
Yeah. If you've ever.
So what is this?
Yeah, Guy, if you've ever experienced it, and most people in the world maybe haven't, but a lot of us have experienced, and you have too, of running out of cocaine. And,
no, I don't do cocaine.
Oh, well, I have. And I don't know if anyone understands the sorrow of running out of cocaine and the sadness. And I found myself, when I got sober, having the same experience with a McDonald's large French fry. When I got down to the last fry, I just wanted one more hit, and it was like I wasn't getting a good hit, so now I got to go back to McDonald's and get another fry. And there was deep sorrow when I get to the end of the fry container, I get down to the bottom, and I experience the same sadness as if I ran out of Coke. So I get what you're saying. I don't know. Like I just said to somebody today, I said, it's hypothetical. Addiction has so much that's hypothetical in it. It's hypothetical about the cause. It's hypothetical about why. But it's scientific about what it does. So what it does is scientific. It does it to all of us. Nobody gets away. Nobody gets to be an addict and not suffer. Nobody gets to go through this process and have to, jails, institutions. Scientifically, you're screwed if you get involved with addiction. But hypothetically, we don't know why. And anyone that tells you they do would be a nutcase. And a lot of people tell us it's trauma. They tell us it's, whatever they're trying to tell us. And that changes, it's false because it sure changes over time. In the 80s, the cause of addiction was not trauma. It wasn't in the 90s. It wasn't in the 2000s. It was in 2008 when Gabor Mate came out with ACE that all of a sudden addiction became about trauma and adverse childhood experiences. And so it's nonsense to consider why. What we can consider is that this problem doesn't go away for folks until it's dealt with. So a guy like you and a guy like me, we have to be dealing with it. And when we're not dealing with it, it seems to grow and we don't tend to it. When we don't have fear of it, it seems to grow and then not bite us back again.
Even with the
and to be aware of it, like seeing another, I just talked to these kids in the room at Kent today about a cautionary tale and about watching folks fall off. And that old AA phrase that's so good that says there before the grace of God goes I, and that saying, that could be me, but because of the grace of God, it's not right now. And thank you. And that's a good kind of position to operate when you're an addict, to understand how quickly,
So I just wanted to add one more thing. I know it's getting to be time, but I just wanted for all the people that are in these rooms that you're not alone. And I think you know that, but just remember that all ages, all incomes, there's always a person that has this issue and we just got to deal with it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Shitty ass brain. It really pisses me off because I really wish I could be normal.
Yeah.
I know you feel the same. So
I know, I see it. I do. I see. I'll be in Vegas or Arizona, and I'll see a group of men having a scotch and smoking cigars.
Yeah.
And I always think, why can't I do that? Why can't I just? But I can't, just like you.
Yeah.
Okay, Becky.
Thank you guys so much for that. That was great.
Yeah.
Hey, Becky.
You're musing about what is normal.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Yeah. So you mentioned registering for Run for Recovery. And for people that when you're registering, you're going to see different ticket types. You'll see ticket of 5, an individual ticket, virtual ticket, virtual with a T-shirt. And if you are like a team bigger than 5, then I can give you a code. And so when you put that code, you'll type, there's a box where you can type the code in, and another ticket type will pop up below all the other ones. And a lot of people are missing it. So anyway, just so you know, and be watching for it, but call me, I'll help walk you all the way through it.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. And do you have some closing thoughts before Kyle closes us
Yeah,
out?
Kyle, let's hear the joke and then we'll close up.
All right, Kyle has a joke to close us out, and then our final words.
Okay, all right, so good. It's so good. All right. Well, also I want to make the comment too about what Guy was saying. What it says in the big book is we have the phenomenon, what's called the phenomenon of craving. For whatever reason, we have this phenomenon of us craving this over and over again compared to, let's say normal person not having this phenomenon of craving that occurs with them. So this is a weird thing that happens. All right, so yeah, it's not very funny. All right, so when we find somebody having a problem using drugs, we say they're addicted. When it's somebody using alcohol, it's addicted. Even food. What is it called? Addicted. Well, what hit Josh in the face last night?
Oh my God. That was pretty funny. That was good.
That was his best one so far.
Yeah, that was probably the best.
Sorry, Josh.
Well, that was funny. That was hilarious.
I don't know, but thank you to everyone for having this conversation with me tonight. And we'll be back in full next week. We won't miss a beat. And we'll continue the conversation. And again, I just always want to mention what an honor it is to come into and help your family. So thank you for that. And we'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody.